You might have heard of major scales, and you might have heard of minor scales. Did you know the only difference between them is which note you start on? This is the concept of relative major and minor scales. And if you understand it, you can use a quick shortcut to get from any major scale to its relative minor, which cuts the number of scales you need to learn in half. Instead of 24 total major and minor scales, you just need to learn your 12 major scales, and then you can find your minor scales. To understand the idea, let's look at G major and its relative minor. Here's G major. We would say that the key signature of G major is F sharp. We only use this one black key, F sharp, when we play a G major scale. And that's true wherever we play it on the piano. Now, if I play the same notes that I just used for that G major scale, but I start and end on E, that's an E natural minor scale. So we would say E minor has the same key signature as G major. It only uses an F sharp for its black keys. Now you notice if we start on G and we count numbers for scale degrees here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, E is the 6th scale degree of G major. And this is going to be true for every major key. One way to find its relative minor is to count up to the 6th note of the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's our first method for finding a relative minor from any major key. We could try it on a different key. Let's say A major. In this case, we walk up to the 6th note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's F sharp. So if we start on F sharp, and we use all the same black keys that we found in A major. In this case, we need 3 black keys, F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. We're going to have an F sharp natural minor scale. So this is the first way of relating a major scale to its relative minor. The relative minor is going to be built on the 6th note of the major scale. There's a shortcut, though. And I promised you a shortcut. So the quickest way to find the relative minor is to walk down 3 half steps. Let's go back to G major to look at this. Okay, if I start on G and I count half steps, that is the very next available note, it'll be 3 half steps. 1, 2, 3 to get down to that relative minor. 3 half steps. And you can use this in either direction. If you're on a minor key and you want to find the relative major, you can walk up 3 half steps. 1, 2, 3. That's usually quicker than walking all the way up from the bottom of the scale to the 6th scale degree. So it's a good little trick to remember. 3 half steps in either direction can relate a major scale and its relative minor. And I think a good mnemonic device for this is to think of the easiest major and minor scales on the piano, C major and A natural minor. So C major is the native key signature of the piano keyboard. You can just put your hands down on the keys and you're only going to use white keys. You're only going to use notes from the C major scale. And this makes it easy to remember. Okay, C is kind of our default major key. The natural minor, that's the relative minor of C, is A. How do those 2 keys relate to each other? I will sometimes still quickly reference this as like a little mnemonic for, how do relative minor and major work? Yeah, just think of C major and A minor. They're 3 half steps apart, 1, 2, 3. And the minor is below the major. It's 3 half steps below the major. Major is above the minor. This is a really easy way to remember that rule. You put it in a real context of these 2 keys, C major and A minor. And those are such easy keys on the piano keyboard that it's a good way to remember how this works. So let's do a little practice. I'm going to give you a major key. I want you to find its relative minor. Here's your major key, E flat major. In this case, we're using 3 flats in the key, B flat, E flat, and A flat. So we want to make sure to include those flats when it comes time to play this new minor scale. But let's find the root of the relative minor scale, and we're going to use our 3 half steps trick. So start on E flat, and which way did you need to walk? Is it down or up? Well, you can think A minor is down from C major, so I need to walk down 3 half steps to get to that minor. And interesting, okay, this is actually C minor. So the relative minor to E flat major is C minor, and we're going to use all those flats. We get the sound of C minor. C minor and C major are also related to each other, but they're related in a different way. We call those parallel major and minor. Parallel means that they start and end on the same note. So C major and C minor are parallel. A flat major and A flat minor are parallel. Parallel is one of those things where when you ask a student, okay, what's the parallel major or minor to this other key? It's almost like a trick question because it's so easy. You just say the same name of the key. But it's helpful to understand the difference between a major key and its parallel minor. So if you're curious about that, I have another video on the topic of parallel major and minor keys. If you like the way that I teach theory and you'd like more in-depth guidance on how to practice these scales in every key and get really comfortable with them as an improviser, become a member at pianofluency.com. That's the best way that I can help you. I have a very robust learning path there in an online course for students who find me online, along with an online community with other piano students, and a live class that I teach once a week for all members. So I love working with people in the Piano Fluency program, and you can join by heading to my website, pianofluency.com, and becoming a member. I'd love to see you there. Either way, if you want more free piano education videos like this, you should subscribe to this channel. And I want to thank you for joining me. My name is Ted with Piano Fluency.